want to show you guys real quickly something that I'm seeing on SOFI. Even though SOFI has been rallying up, I want to show you what I'm seeing and also kind of introduce a indicator, which is the RSI, which means relative strength index, or you may hear relative strength indicator. So even though it's rallying up, the same pattern that I was showing on what was that on AMD, which is the inverted head and shoulders, this here may be forming a head and shoulders, which is a bearish move. So we will go up here, that right shoulder, we got the head up here, and this shoulder here potentially forming out, and then we could push back down here. Now this is on the daily time frame, and you notice with the RSI down here is at about 59.49. So there's a possibility that even though it's showing that it could be a bearish move incoming, this RSI could indicate that it's still a bit oversold. So we could push back up some to anywhere between 60 and 70, where it officially becomes overbought. And when something becomes overbought, then we know that it's coming back down. So even if we kind of looking at SOFI retesting 27, about 27.90, it could reject there and start pushing back down as we get to earnings, which is on October 25th. Now this is the daily time frame. So if I go to the 4-hour time frame, which is here, you can really see the head and shoulders forming out over here on the 4-hour. And you'll also notice that the RSI is extremely oversold as well. Well, it kind of pushed back up some. So we're kind of working with about 50, 51. But if you notice, we kind of have some rejection here around that 51 on the RSI, where I'm going to put a line right here. And you notice we kind of got a few hits up there, kind of had a little support up in here. And yes, you can kind of look at the RSI with support or resistance. You may not exactly call it that, but just gotta kind of watch it, because as we're nearing here on this $27 and just kind of pushing back up, you may notice that this RSI is pushing back up, and it could stop here and it could start coming back down, or it could push back up and go from there. Okay, so if you're going to trade SOFI in terms of getting into calls and riding it up, definitely plan accordingly. It may be on a short-term basis versus a long-term one, because if you go to the 1-hour time frame, you'll notice that the RSI is a little bit, almost 60 around this little area up in here. And you can also see that head and shoulders forming out right here as well. So if this full right shoulder forms out, calls would probably be off the table. We would kind of have to see how it reacts at that 24.89. And if it hold up there, possibly push back up, or they might try to bring it all the way down so that when earnings come, we can kind of begin to ride it back up. So you can do calls short term, maybe make $27 a target, or you can kind of ride this head and shoulders and get into puts, see what it does at 24.89, probably exit there, or if it breaks below that and try to retest 22.73, then you'll get out there. So just plan it accordingly before you hop in with anything long term, and like I would say a couple of weeks expiration. But if you're going to ride it down, definitely get a couple of weeks expiration to give it time to play out, at least until like October 31st, right before they have their earnings, so you'll have enough time to complete the trade.